Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to It's Only Food with Chef John Politte. Today we are making creamy chicken Romanov. Cue the music. Well, hey everybody, I am Chef John Politte and you are watching It's Only Food. If this is your first time watching this channel, or if you just want to learn how to continue to make awesome food, or maybe even learn how to start your own cooking channel right here on YouTube, then do yourself a favor and click on that little subscribe button in the corner and then hit that little notification bell to be notified each and every time I upload new content. Alright, like I said, we are making creamy chicken Romanov. I'm using this lovely 1001 low-fat recipes. I found it in there. It is on page 227. It's a pretty good recipe. So let's get into the kitchen here and see what our ingredients are. Of course, we're going to start out with some chicken breast. Then we're going to use 1 onion. Then we're going to have 2 tablespoons of canola oil, 4 tablespoons of flour, some chicken stock. I just have the base here. We're going to make some. I need about a cup and a half, cup and 3/4. And then of course a half a cup of non-fat sour cream. So we're going to work through this recipe. Let's get back into the kitchen and start cooking. Okay, well the recipe calls for the chicken to be sliced in thin strips. So I'm going to cut our onion into thin strips as well. I'm just going to julienne this right down the striations that you see in the onion. And always do your produce or whatever you're going to be putting into the mix. If you're using raw chicken, do your raw chicken last when you do your prep. That way you're not going to be worrying about cross-contamination, or if you miss a spot on your cutting board with your sanitizer solution. And also it just makes for a better cleanup and a more nicer process. So I've got our onions cut. I'm going to put them right here in this bowl and set them aside. And that's all the produce we have. I don't have any mushrooms or other ingredients to cut up into this. So right now we're going to pull our chicken over here and start slicing that. Alright, there's our chicken breast. I am going to just slice very thinly and just make this meat sliver thin. As you can see, I'm cutting these into strips, little loins, but then I'm going to take and I'm going to julienne those into strips as well. I've got really some good size pieces of white meat here. The recipe calls for 2 chicken breasts, double lobe, so you can get 4 single lobes out of that one package. I just went and got, this was on sale at the store, and it's just very huge pieces of white meat here. So, and it was for like $4. So this is going to be a tasty meal. Alright, and then I'm not going to show you this whole cutting process, you don't need to watch that. But we do have our sliced here. I'm going to take this slice of this chicken breast and I'm going to go ahead with the grain and I'm just going to cut it into thin strips like this. Now, in case I missed it in the shot, this is what I want to do with the chicken breast. I've sliced the chicken breast across the breast against the grain. Now I want to take this slice and I want to slice it with the grain and make it into thin strips like that. Alright, I still have this whole breast right here, and that made this much chicken. We're talking about 2 or 3 cups of sliced chicken meat, so I'm not even going to cut that breast right there up. I'm going to freeze that and use it again for another show or for some dinner. So we're just going to take what I've cut up right here and we're going to head over to our pan and we're going to start cooking. Now you noticed how I used gloves too when I did this. That saves a lot of time with washing your hands back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Every time you touch the bowl, the pan, the knife handle, whatever, if you got chicken blood all over your hands, you're going to have to wash your hands. And not only wash your hands, but you're going to have to wash the surface as well. So what I did is I wore these gloves, as you saw probably in the cutting shot there, but I'm going to set this whole cutting board off to the side And when I'm done cooking all this, I'm going to get some gloves on again, and I'm going to rebag this chicken and freeze it in the freezer, and I'm going to throw everything into the sink, wash and sanitize it, and it's going to go directly into the dishwasher, where I'm going to proceed to wash it in the dishwasher. And then at the end of this show, when I clean up, I take my sanitizer and I spray down the whole kitchen and wipe it down, and then I do it again, because you never know where the blood might squirt or any kind of thing. And it's just good to have this good sanitation process in place in your kitchen anyway, especially if you have children or animals. So I'm just going to set this off to the side, and now let's start cooking. Alright, I'm gloving up again because I'm going to be pushing this chicken into our pan out of the bowl. I got it setting off to the side over there, you can see it in the background. I'm taking our oil now, turning our pan down to medium heat, putting that oil into the pan. You can see the way it scurries about in the pan. That pan is hot. So now I'm going to take all this chicken, spread it evenly in there. And let that start to cook. And when this chicken is somewhat close to being done, I'm going to go ahead and put our onions in as well. The recipe calls to cook the onions and then bring them out and then put the chicken in. I'm going to do it this way because I think it's just going to be the same thing. And the onion flavor will be in there with the chicken as well, so we're not missing anything. Alright, chicken is halfway cooked. I'm going to go ahead and put our onions in there now and let those start cooking alongside with that chicken. Kind of look like a curry a little bit. Ooh. Let these sweat down. Alright, it's coming along nicely. I'm going to continue to stir it, making sure that chicken is cooked all the way throughout. We'll go ahead and throw a lid on this and kind of speed up the process a little bit and keep it moist. Oh yeah, that's coming through nice. It smells good too. Onions are starting to soften up. We're releasing some of that liquid as well. I'm going to give it a little bit more time just to make sure that chicken's all the way cooked. Alright, I think the chicken is pretty much done. It's going to continue to cook after we do the next steps too, but I just like to make sure with this chicken because you don't want to make people sick. You can break one open and check it out. It's clear all the way through. Not any pink at all. Now the next step of the recipe is to sprinkle your flour. Don't want to clump it up too much. You want to sprinkle this evenly throughout, and you just want to dust all the ingredients with the flour. Cause a little roux, because that's going to thicken up when we add our next step, which is going to be the chicken base that we've made with our chicken stock that we've made with our base. So this is all covered up with all this flour. It's called the Singer method. It's a roux, but it's done per the Singer method, adding the flour to the fat in the pan with the ingredients instead of adding it to just the butter and the flour and making it onto the side and then adding the roux into the dish. This is the Singer method. So now I'm going to take our chicken stock that I made with that little bit of base and about 1 3/4 cups of water. I'm just going to add this a little bit at a time because I don't want to dump the whole thing in because it might get too thin. As it thickens, I want to make sure it thickens adequately. Not that I don't trust the recipe, but I just learned a long time ago, do things a little bit at a time to make sure they're right. You can see it's thickening all around the dish as it bubbles. Add a little bit more, and it'll also reduce a little bit too. But it's just some good techniques. I want to dig in there and get that chicken base that's in the bottom too, because that's where our flavor is. Yeah, we'll spread that around in there too. Alright, now I'm going to reduce the heat before I add that sour cream, because I don't want it to be too hot or it will break. The creaminess of that sour cream will break. So I'm just going to reduce the heat. Change my spoon out because it had raw chicken on it. I'm just waiting for the bubbles to dissipate. But you can start adding the sour cream around the edges. I just let it kind of blend in on its own and melt a little bit before I shock it too much by adding it right into that hot liquid. This is low-fat sour cream, and we just mix this all up. Alright, well, I'm going to cover this back up. We have rice cooking over here in our trusty rice cooker. I am going to plate it up with a vegetable and the rice. We are going to take some amazing photos of it for social media, and then we are going to come back. We're going to lay that track of those pictures into this video with some incredibly groovy music, and then we're going to come back and give this a taste. Enjoy the music. Okay, well, I have got the pictures all taken now, and I'm going to start testing this out here. I put some French fried onions on top of everything, a little bit of balsamic vinegar to give it some color and try to make it pretty. Well, there's the chicken right there. So I'm going to move the camera onto the tripod, and we'll give this a taste. Alright, well, let's give it the old taste test here. Get a little bit of onion and chicken on here. Still kind of hot, so try to get a shot of that. Very, very hot, but it smells fantastic. That sauce is creamy. It's got a good texture to it. You can taste that sour cream and that oil from the vinegar. I'm sorry. And you can taste that oil from the olive oil in there. Gives it a nice little contrast. The chicken is cut thin and cooked very well. It's not tough, it's very tender. And then you got that little bit of a bite with that onion in there too, to very complement that whole dish. Low fat, made with no butter, and I made it with non-fat sour cream. Go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to leave that description box full of some information down there. I'm going to have the nutritional information, and I'm also going to have the recipe as well. Also, check out all the other links that I've got in the description box. And don't forget, we worked with raw meat today, raw chicken. Make sure that you clean and sanitize your kitchen. All the little knobs and door handles on your microwave, your refrigerator, the water faucets, your garbage can, everywhere you touch or use like a knife handle, make sure you're not only cleaning them but also sanitizing. Clean means to wipe down the surface and get all the dirt and grime off. Sanitize means using a solution that will kill all the bacteria and all of the microbes that are bad for you. And you make sure you got to do that, especially if you got kids and you got animals in the house, because you don't want them getting sick. Cross-contamination is probably the #1 cause of foodborne illnesses in this country. So make sure that you're wiping down everything and sanitizing it. That's all I've got. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave a comment down below. Let me know how you like this show. Don't forget to like this channel, and also share this channel and this video with everybody you know. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you again next time right here on It's Only Food. Have a good day. Bye-bye.